Hello to everyone, this is Vishal and now we have another session of the series that's how we can use the ViewModel class as in a live data in your recycler view. So if you watch my previous tutorials just uploaded within this week, that's how we can use the same data B approaches of ViewModel classes in your grid view, and I explained it very well how we can fetch our data as in a complete ViewModel class live data and put it on your using the data binding, putting on your adapter and can represent it. So that makes our apps very easy for the grid views. The same thing I will explain to you today just for your recycler view. And in this recycler views, I'm using also with the card view if you want to represent it a more attractive, how we can show that. So the same thing and uh, same data we applied on it. The difference between the adapter on that we use the grid view adapter, and here we can use the recycler view adapter. So once these adapters be ready for you, you can use it anywhere using the data binding. And the simply what is the explanations of recycler view, list view, and the card view. That means these basic differences most of the time asked in the interview questions. That so you can say it in a very simple language, because of the recycler was designed to replace the list view, and it does it very well. Because of list view there is some scrolling issues, and why recycler view we are using the view holder class. I will explain you how. So that view holder class makes the smoother scrolling by keeping the list items into the memory. So that's the very simple line. And the card view is just we can use the inner layout more attractive in a form of card if you want to show the corners of the card radius, and we can say the background color of the cards. So same thing we applied. You can draw it in using the linear layouts. You make it that for the inner layout, but it's used, you directly use that card view and then show it very well in your recycler view. So how can achieve it? That's the difference I explained to you. And see, that's the card view. And also if you want to show these card views be like that. So that's the things we are using. And the same scenario we are using for that data binding. We need a layout activity, inner layouts, adapters, view model class, and for the remote calling we need the retrofit and the user interface calls. So let's enjoy this session in your Android Studio using the recycler view. Okay, so let's start in an Android Studio. And yeah, so there is dependencies, that is our CardView, RecyclerView, JSON, Retrofit, and the life cycles. These all we need it. And data binding and is equals to true. That's with the first and foremost things whenever we do the data binding. And now we have to start it. And here this is the simple relative layout, and in which we have to use our first recycler view. That's your match parent, wrap contents, and give the idea of this, that is a recycler view. Very simple. And once it has done, then we go for the next thing is just make your basic steps. Just you have to create your folders as we did it in a grid view. So for that you need to make a basic structure of this. Number one, you have a package for the model, then you have a package for the remote callings, so easy. Then you have a package for the adapter, then you have a package for your um, what's the remain, yeah, main thing, that is the view model. Okay, so first we have to create our model, and in this model I'm using the same as we did it the first time. Just explain it again, that is your categories. In this categories we need four major things. That's the public, string id is equals to, and the second is public string title, public string description, and public string image path. We have a 4 values here, and these values be in my JSON also that I have to retrieve it. So just using this, and I have to generate the constructor for all these 4s, and also be, if you want to be access your blank, so go for the blank and say okay. So this is our model be ready, and how we can use it in your view model. So just very simple, you have to make a category view model, and that we have to extend our view model. And now what to do for this, we need this a public constructor, that is simple, and now we have to get access this public category view model as in your categories, and this dot, okay, you just copy the things, or we have another calling view. If you don't use the copy paste the for the model, I will explain you one more way you can get access these values. Do not define the here, but at this time just use as in a beginning label, and categories dot your id, and here you have to copy paste 4 times, and you have to put the title, description, image path, and the same be your image path, description, title, and that's your id. Okay, so this is our category model be ready. Okay, now for this one more thing we need it, that is a public mutable data. This is our array list, a complete array list we want as in a category view model. So this is a mutable live data, and that is your new mutable live data. So that means we have to get access these things, but for that what we need it, we need to, okay, you just say it as a public. So you can see that here, that's a mistake. You can do it to the public, and you can see this is a getter for this. So we have to work on this, so we can fetch this data on your main activities. That's the rule. Okay, and we set adapter on that case. Okay, but for this we apply, we have to make a inner layout. So to set the adapter, and here this is a layout interface, that is your inner layout. And as I told you that what we needed for this, we need a very simple just wait. Yeah, okay, so what we needed, we need to make it as a card layout. This, so you can see this is your card view, and you can make it as a corner radius, that is the 5 dp, whatever you want, and card background color if you want with the accent color. I don't like this accent color, so go for your XML color XML and click on here, and I want to be change it as some other shade, yeah, some light shade. So that's the color accent, and also I want to change the color primary of this. Yeah, that's fine. And also the color primary dark as in yeah, that's it. Okay, so this is your color primary. Okay, so that's our card view, and in this card view what I needed, I want to represent the title, description, and the image. So for this I'm using the linear layout and the match parent, wrap content, and the orientation I want with the horizontal, and this horizontal orientation I need that image view, and I make it as an 100 dp and the dp and okay, just leave it. And after that I want to make one more linear layout, that is the match parent, wrap contents, and in it I will show to you the orientation be your vertical, and that vertical orientation I need the two text views, that is the match parent, wrap contents, and this is your text, and I make it as in the title, and the text size be your 18 dp, and text style be your bold, just simple, and if you want with the margin top, that's be your 10 dp, and also you can create your gravity be as in the center, just copy paste it. Here I want to make a 16, and this is a description. Okay, so that's, and I don't want to be the bold of this, just simple. Okay, and yeah, here we have to put source so can cross check the things. Make this gravity be as a center also. Okay, so for the checking I need a user PNG here, and that PNG I have to copy on this drawable and make it as a user, and you can set it as in a source first to check it is a user or not. Okay, so that's we our design. So once you check the things that it's working, yeah, that is the way I want to show. Yeah, that's fine. So one more thing, and make it the wrap content. Okay, and also the margin be 5 dp. That's it. So this is our card view in which we have to work. Okay, and if you want to be more down, so make it as a 20. That's fine. So that's the scene we have to do for the data binding, and for the data binding what we need it on the same layout, we make a layout, and you have to put as in a data, this is your class, and that's name is your category binding. So this is our data, and here you can use as a variable, and that variable be your category model, and that category model be as a com example admin recycler view video view model category view model. That's it. So this is our category binding, and you just put this layout be as your final layout. Okay, and one more thing we need it it's good you put this XML namespace on the top on your layout. So everything is a fine be here, and binding be here. Okay, so now if you want to check this bindings be, you can go for I want to the binding as a category model dot title, and here I want it as a category just copy it dot description. So that's the scene in which we have to work, and now one more thing I want to explain the thing be here how we can use the binding adapter. So you have to go for your category view model. Here you have to put the binding adapter here. So for binding adapter what we need a binding adapter, the same as I did it in the grid view. And this binding adapter, what we have, we need a curly parenthesis, and in which you have to say the bind, and that bind be as an image URL. And after creating this binding adapter you have to make a public static void load image, and whatever be your image you just say it as an image view, and this is your image view, and whatever be your string you just go for that string, that is your image URL. And once it has done, that means you need to a Picasso says that I want the get context, so the context always be your image view dot get context and dot load. So whatever I want to be a image URL, I want my image URL, and then I want with a placeholder, and that is your r dot travel dot shit here. Yeah, okay, so this is a r, alt enter, and this is a r dot travel dot user, and then I want be the into. So whatever be our target is here as a image view. So this is a simple scene of the load image. And now if you want to get that value, so this is your public string get image URL, and you have to return that image path as you declare above. So that's the things, and the inner layout what to do for that. I no need of this, just if you have checked already. I just want be a app, and this is your image URL. It show the namespace below, and do not want to be the bind here. I just use it at the add sorry, what happened? Yeah, add, and this is, you have to copy paste it. This is your category model, and that category model be as a dot your image URL. Okay, so the inner layout be ready, and our categories, models, everything is ready. Now we have to return that data. So for this, what we need, because of we are making the array list, so you can make a array list of your category view model as an array list. Okay, and that array list you have to call here. Yes, so this is your array list as in a new array list, and in this array list what we have to apply, we have to apply our values as our categories. So on the same tutorials, if you want to see that on grid view, I have used the same, and this is your categories, and in these categories I have used one, and this is your title one, and this is your description one, and this is your last image one, whatever be it is a PNG. At this time no image is there, so I mean, because of by the retrofit call I will show you how we can load that image. Okay, so this is the categories, and now we have a category view model, as in a new category view model, and this is your categories. That means you have to pass that, and now we have to create the array list of the model. So that means we have a array list dot add our category view model. That means we can make the array list. If you have a 2, 3, 4 categories that we get it from the retrofit, we'll show you. And now at the last, we have a array list mutable live data. So that is the array list mutable live data dot set value as our array list. So we have to set this array list here. So everything is fine, and now we have to go for the main activity. In this main activity, what we need it, this is a private, and your category view model, and this is a private. What we need it, the second thing is we have a recycler view as in a recycler view. The two things we need for that, and at this time this you say recycler view is equals to your recycler view, and find view by id, that is your r.id.recycler view. And the secondary thing is we need a category view model, and that category view model is your view model providers, and that providers what we need it of, that means of this, and that is your get, and that get be your category view model dot class. Okay, so this is our category view model, and the category view model dot get live data dot observe, we need to observe this, and that is called new observer. Okay, so here we find our category list, so we have to set the adapter. So now we have to the measure point on that scene, that is we have to create a adapter, we have to make a adapter. So we have to go for custom adapter, and we have used this recycler view adapter, but before that I'm using, as I describe you, how we can implement the view holder class. So whenever you create your view holder class, that's the main implementation of that. So for this you have to create a class custom view, and that custom view we have to extend as a recycler view, and that recycler view dot view holder. So this is your custom view class, and say yeah, super. So that's, and once this be here, you can say that is your extends as in recycler view dot adapter, and I want with adapter as per my custom view. So this is your custom view, and say alt enter and it implement the methods with there. Okay, so this is the way if you work with your simple net, but we are using the binding, and in this binding what we need it, we need a category bindings for that. So as I told you many times that sometimes it's never be created in this class, this category binding. So first it's good you go for once a rebuild project. So once it's rebuilt, it can create the class for you from the data binding, and then you can access it. Okay, so now gradles be completed. See, for this now we have to check that our category binding be there or not, because of yeah, it's here. Okay, so the thing is first we need array list, so we can make that custom adapters. We need to fulfill these requirements just like your array list, and that array list to be your category view model, and this is your array list. Okay, and the second thing is you need a context of that. You work with context, otherwise you can say the parent context here. And the third thing is your private layout inflators to inflate your inner layout. And here you have to create the constructor for a public custom adapter, and in it you have to pass both the things. Here you have to pass the context and your array list of the category view model, and this is your array list. So you can say this dot context as in a context, and this dot array list as an array list. So once it has done, then we go for our create view folder. So in this you can say that if layout inflator is equals to null. So little bit difference when we use the your grid view based adapter and when we work with the recycler. So first you have to create always with a custom view class in it, which represent the view holder. Because of everything should be in the view holder, we need a smooth scrolling because of the view holder works with the memory. And the layout inflator, so once that has done, that's your layout inflator be your layout inflator dot from, and you can say it if you don't use this, I will show to you. You can go for the parent dot get context. Okay, and that is at this time just leave it because of we have to work with our category binding. So say category binding, and that category binding is represent our data binding as we did it on the grid view. Data binding util dot, that's your inflat, this is your layout inflator, and r dot layout dot inner layout, and you have to work with here parent, and that's be the last few false. So that means once it has done, that's your category binding be here. And whenever you want to return it, because of we are returning for our every time we have create our new custom class view, so you can say it is a return new custom view, and that custom view you have to pass a category binding. Okay, and here in this class you can say that I want with the category binding, so that is a category binding, category binding, and you can say it here category binding dot get root. You have to, here we need things that is important in your custom view. You have to call this category binding again, and plus after category binding we have to set this as a this dot category binding as in a category binding. So once it has done, our custom view be ready, but one more thing we need to apply here, that's our bind method. So you have to create your own bind method, say, and in this you have to bind your category view model as in a category view model. So that's our class B. You can set it. So this is your category binding dot set category model. That's your category model. So once it has set, you can say that category binding dot execute pending bindings, and that's not necessary, but I will explain you later why we use this. So now the last is your, you have to say that category binding, and this your get category binding, and here you have to return our category binding, maybe it used. Okay, so everything is fine, and now the get item count, the most important things, this is your array list dot size, and everything is yes, that's with the binding. And now the last method in which we have to bind our this class to the holder, so that means view holder to your main binding class. So for that what we need it, you just say that our category view model, category view model, this is your array list dot get position. So once we set these positions, just set a random value, but continuous values, continue 0 1 2 3. So you can say that holder dot bind, what we have to bind, our category view model. So the complete scenes be ready here. First what we have done, first we have to create, that is a mess thing, I want to explain that again. So that's the thing is, first you have to create your view holder custom view in which you need the category binding. Once this binding with the approach to get root, we have to bind method here, and once this bind method be ready, this is your adapter for to custom adapter, this does context array list and layout inflator we have to use in it, and okay, so that has done. So once this has done, you go for activity main, and in this activity you can say that private custom adapter as in a custom adapter, and this custom adapter okay, you have to call this here, no worry, this custom adapter is equals to new custom adapter, and you can say this is the main activity dot this, and you have to set this category view models which you fetch it from the category model. So once this category adapter be ready, and you have to set, because of the problem with this recycler view, you set the layout manager here, and because it will show you the blank otherwise. So wherever your linear or whatever be, you can set that, and main activity dot this. Okay, once it's be ready, you can say that RecyclerView dot set adapter as in your custom adapter. So yeah, that's our simple structure of recycler will be fine. Now we will explain it using the remote calling, but before that I will show to you on a journey motion what is the result of this. Once it's work, then we go for our next approach, that is the remote calling. Okay. Okay, so let's see what be the answer. Yeah, that's on a beautiful layout. That's on a card. You have corners and colors of the card. So that's the way we can represent our data. And now we'll show to you how we can make it the remote calling. As we did many times in my previous tutorials, I showed to you how we can do that remote callings be there. But I want to explain it again because of it's just for a practice, and by the practice you become perfect. So again, I will show to you. So first we check it our data from the JSON is the same records I'm using. We have some images, image path, we have IDs, descriptions that I will represent be in a card layout. Okay, so let's see it. So first and foremost for the remote calling is your Java, and on that class you have to implement be as an interface, and you can say it is a API service. Just do it little fast. And in API service what happen, we have to create that for our uh, as an our categories we need it. So we need for the categories list, but as we need a tag for that, so we need a records be here. So for that we have to serialize the things, and for serialize the things what happen, you just say you have a say get, and in this get what we needed alt enter, and what in this get where is the location, so that's your you can see that location be here on yeah, that's your coupons and read.php, and I want to read it on the retrofit. Okay, and once it's be here, you have to go for a call, and that's call be your category. Because of a need, we make a new class for that category list get category list. So for this new class, what happen in this, you say alt enter, and here you can create the remote. Under the remote, that's the new class, and in this class we have to serialize it because of, yeah, just alt enter because of its won't be the same serialized form, and yeah, column. Okay, so the thing is in a categorized list what we need it that we have to read this data. So for that we need a serialized name, and you can say it as a serialized name. It's not showing me. Mhm. Yeah, so that's with the serialized name, and in the serialized name you can say it's be your records, the same name as in your array list, and you can expose this and once this has done, you have to create a private array list, and that array list of is kind of your categories, because of we have to find all the categories be here, and on that categories, this is your categories, that's your new array list, and on that array list we have to set our getter setters, and you can say it and generate a getter setter and say okay. So you can get this series B on there, and little bit change of the category list B because of we are working with the serialized form of data. So we need this ID, books, name and descriptions and image path. These to be serialized here. So this is your serialized name, and the first is value be your ID that has be exposed, and just need to be a copy paste. All these is stuffs be here. So you can describe it. Yeah. So the second is I think there is the name, we serialized it. Yeah, and description you just copy, and image path. So here this is the description and this is the image path. So once it has done, we go for our the retro class, and that retro class we have to create a new Java class, and that is your retro class. And that retro class, we have to work with your public, your strings we need it. So make a, okay, just make a private string here. So this is your private static final, and that is a string, and that string be your base underscore, um, this is your URL, and this URL be whatever be you have to get access. That's your HTTP, and on HTTP on my local working on 192.168.157 point, and that's be your, so you can say check it on your config. And also the second thing is we have to create a function that's be your retro for our retrofit class. So you can say the retrofit, and that retrofit be as a get retro instance. Okay, make a method so you can get accessed anywhere, and that's cool. And we go for a return, and that return always be your that means you have to actually you have to return that retrofit, and that retrofit dot builder, and that builder be works with your base URL, and that base URL be your base URL. Taking a time. Okay, and that base URL, that means we have to add our convert factory here, and so say add converter factory, and that converter factory be because of we are working with a JSON, so that's your JSON converter factory, and that's be your dot create, and once it create we have to build. And I have told you many times, because of if you want to get the data as in a string format, so sometimes it's create an issue, so you go for the JSON your new your JSON builder. So that's JSON builder be works for that as in a set lenient, and that set lenient you have to create, and whenever you have to create you just pass this JSON be here. Okay, and the last is your, you have to call it everywhere, so make it a public static API, that is your service, and get API service. So you have to approach here, so that for you need a return get retro instance, and you have to create that instance always for the API service dot class, and you have to call this API service everywhere. So for this retro class, what to do? Uh, you just call the next values, that is next class, that is called your retro class, and that retro class, oh sorry, I'm very sorry that has happened. User repository. So in your user repository or data manager class, we can get access this class and get data from the your server or the local server wherever you want. So this is your public user repository, and that user repository in which we have to work. So for this, what generally we have to work in it, we just simply make a public mutable live data, and I told you that we need a array list kind of data, the same as we did it in the grid, and this is our category view model, and this is your array list live data, and that's your new category, sorry, new mutable data. Okay, and now we have to create the getter for this, the same as we did it there. So you can say this is a getter. Okay, so in which we have to get data, and we have to call this on your view uh, in your whatever, yeah, in your view model. Okay, so mutable live data, so everything is fine. Now we have to create our array list. Just this is your category view model kind of this is your array list, and the same approach we are working. That means we needed a categories be there, so on that we have to work. And here this is the once your mm, 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 a category list be there, and private your array list of categories be there. Okay, so you can say the items be. Now just go for this approach here, and in this mutable live array list, what to do, we have to work with this. So whenever we get this data, that means categories data, so that's our items, and that items be our in a form of data. So for this we need to call this API service first. So for this API service, you can say it API service, and on that API service you can say that the retro class dot get API service, because of we create instance for that. And here you can say the call, and we have to call for category list, and that category list alt enter, and that category list be a list call. And for this list call, we have to get this API service dot get category list. So that means we can get that category list, and this category list dot your enq and new uh, new callback. Okay, and you can get the data be here. So the first array be our array list kind of error, so you can say the response dot body dot get categories, and because we fetch all the things we here under the items, so we have to put these things in your categories. So this is your categories, and say categories, and this is your category view model. Because of then we have to put this under the category view model. So okay, and now we have to create a loop for that. Int I is equals to 0, I is less than your items, items dot size and I plus plus. Okay, so once this be ready, and then we go for our categories here, new categories, and we insert the data be here, just like the first item be your items dot get I. On particular locations we have to set that is your ID, and you just copy paste it another 4 times be here, and you have to make it like title, and this is your description, and this is your image path. And now we have to change this image path. You have to make a static URL, and but here I'm using directly because of I need to get access the image path of images be there. So we'll see it where be the image. So these be the my images. uh, so it's localhost and the coupons and the images. So just copy this, and what our retro class, I just use this URL, but you have to make a static different page because of it's the wrong way to do. In the future if you want to update something, so you have to change it on a single string URLs. Okay, it just with a small program, so I'm making this. Okay, so these are categories, and in which you have to insert the values of all the categories, and here you this is your uh, once your categories be there, so categories view model, and that category view model be your new category view model. As we did it there, you just put the categories the same way as on the view holder class. And once this be ready, and we have to put this data be inside your category list. So what to do here, this is our array list, and in array list we can say it this is a array list as in a new array list, so in which we have to add this category view model. So they add, and in this add, this is our category view model, because of this is our category type kind of array list. So once this has done, here in your data, what is that which we return? Yes, this is our array list mutable live data. So in this we have to return, so we have to set that those values out the loop. So say set value, and that set values be as an array list. So once this has done, our mutable live data be a complete your category view model kind of things. Okay, you just simply go for your category view model, nothing changes in it, and simply call this user repository, and okay, hide this. I have done the same thing as it here, and yeah, you have to call this user repository, and this is your repository be here, and this user repository we can say it user repository is your new user repository, and you have to call this user repository dot get array mutable live data. And once you get it, you have to put it be in the values of array list, because of we access this on our UI page. So you just say it, yeah. So once this has done, we have to go for again just run it and check that what's the answer. Okay, so let's see what's the answer here. Yeah, so you can see that there is a multiple card layouts be here, card views be here in your recycler, so you can represent it. So it's very easy to build it using the data binding. And okay, so wind up for the day, and we'll make new tutorials for you soon, and also be there will be some demand for the Kotlin, so we'll describe the Kotlins also. So okay, so thank you so much for the day. It's so easy.